Oh, okay. I think we are live now. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another Healthy Heart session. Today, we have a very interesting topic. Now, how do I start? As human beings or as living organisms, we all go through several changes. You're born from childhood, you go through you go through adolescence, become an adult, and then finally become a very old person. For women, these changes can even be a bit more complicated. So women have to go through menstruation period, and then they have menopause as well. Now, menopause within our community is not spoken much about. It's more like a taboo. A lot of people would rather be silent about this very important topic. And that is why CAHN had a session over the weekend to kind of break these barriers around this very important topic. Today, we want to take this discussion a bit further. So we have with us a special guest called Dr. Oluseye. I was just waiting for her bio to do the introduction myself, but it didn't come true, unfortunately, Doc. So I might have to ask her to do the intro herself because I didn't get the bio. Doc, I hope you don't mind if I ask you to introduce yourself once you start. However, is that okay? Because I didn't get the bio, so that's okay, right? Yeah. So Dr. Oluseye is a GP who has a lot of interest in women issues. I know she's written a book on menopause, so we couldn't have had a better person to handle this topic than her, And even though she's a GP, she talks about nutrition and lifestyle issues, and that is why we invited her today to lead today's discussion. So wherever you are joining us, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, please do send us your questions. This is a very important topic. And as always, we want it to be interactive, so drop your questions in the chat box if you are here with us now on Zoom, any social media platform, and we will pick those questions and get Doc to address them for us. So Doc, if you are ready, please do have the floor. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're connecting with us from today. I know there are people joining from all over. Thank you so much for having me here today. And yes, as you've said, my name is Dr. Oluseye Arikawe. I'm a GP by profession, but I have special interest. And one of my special interests is women's health, especially menopause. Other special interest I have is diabetes and lifestyle, medicine and medical training as well. Yes, as you said, I've written a book. My book is called How to Make Menopause a Positive Experience. It's an ebook which aims to help women to navigate this very important, inevitable season. Everyone will go through menopause. Every woman will go through menopause. And as you said, it's more like a taboo in people of our color, people from the Afro-Caribbean. People don't want to talk about it. In some communities, especially the Christian communities, they don't want to talk about menopause for some reason or the other. But my book tells about how can you prepare yourself for menopause, because even if you're not there yet, we get there at some point. Mm-hmm. How can you prepare before you get there? How can you navigate this very important season? And how can you actually make it a positive experience? So it's for people who want to master menopause like a pro. I also write for Premier Women's Alive magazine, where I take a monthly session and ask the doctor. So your questions, any questions on women's health or any aspect of medicine, I tend to write about that on a monthly basis. And I have a blog called A Word for Her. So my blog is to help women connect the facts of medical science to the truth of God's word. So on my blog, I write on issues relating to women, especially health-related issues and issues of faith. So that's me in a nutshell. I live in the UK and my practice is in Essex. Thank you.
Thank you for that intro. We're happy to have you here today.
So I'm just going to start. Today we are talking about healthy eating in peri and post-menopause. So can you see my screen yet?
No, not yet. Well, it's just coming up now. Yes,
Coming
yes,
up.
we can. Yes,
I can see it now. Great. Right. So, like Dr. Hiba said, this is a very important topic, and it's about menopause and how do we navigate this season, this important season in the life of every woman. And if a man here as well, it's very important for you to listen, because I'm sure every single one of us, you know someone who is going through menopause, whether it's your sister, your friend, your mother, or your work colleague. So I think menopause is such an important topic that every single person should know about menopause. So today we are talking about healthy eating in peri and post-menopause. So before we go on, we're just going to do a quick quiz for everybody. So if you just type in the chat box quickly, what does menopause mean to you? When we say menopause, what does it mean? So can we just put in the chat box? What do we mean by menopause?
Oh, if anybody wants to unmute herself and quickly say something. Okay, I can I read that for you, Doc?
Chat? Yes, please.
Yes. So someone says end of periods.
End of period.
Periods, yeah.
Good. Any other person?
A time where estrogen levels are reduced.
Great.
Another person?
Yeah, that's so true.
Someone says men should pause. I think this person.
That's interesting. Menopause.
Men should pause.
Men should pause. Well, get him to explain in details what that means.
I know, right? I'm sure that was just being funny. Someone says a time of trauma.
A time of trauma.
Amanda says a time of trauma.
And it's so true for some people. Some women, for some people, it's a walk in the park. For some women, yes, it's a time of trauma. So the whole idea is that how do we prepare, how do we navigate this season so that we can actually have a positive experience of menopause? Any more answers?
Cessation of menstrual flow. Another response.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for that. So when we say menopause, what exactly do we mean? There's so many terminologies. We talked about perimenopause, post-menopause, climacteric. There's so many names that we use to describe this. Some people say, I don't even know whether I'm peri or post or menopause. I'm just somewhere in between. What exactly do we mean by all these different terms? So when we talked about perimenopause, so that's the period just prior to the final menstrual period. So that's called perimenopause. For most women, this can start from the age of maybe 45. And it can last for several years. You may start from the age of 45 and you can keep going for another 5, 6, 7 years before you actually have your final menstrual period. But perimenopause is actually that period before your final one. And when we talked about menopause itself, it's actually, as we've said in the chart, everyone that put things in the chart were quite right. That's the final menstrual period when there's been no period for 12 consecutive months. And that's very important for us to know that. And I said 12 consecutive months because for most of us who would have noticed that probably you find that you don't have a period for like 2, 3, 4, 5 months, even sometimes up to 10 months. And then suddenly you just find your period coming back and you're thinking, where is this thing coming from again? So you're going to have to start counting again until you've had 12 consecutive months of no period before we actually say you've gone through menopause. And then what does post-menopause, what does that mean? So if you have your final period, the 1 year after, it's what we meant by post-menopause. However, there are some people that they would have, somebody described this as being pushed over the cliff. Maybe they're in their 20s or in their 30s and they've had surgery for whatever reason to remove their ovaries. Those people do not have even the chance to have perimenopause or menopause or climacteric. They are instantly becomes post-menopause. And that can actually be the trauma. Somebody put in the chat trauma. It's usually quite a traumatic experience because suddenly you just find yourself with all the symptoms because you've been pushed into menopause. And people like that should actually use hormones to replace the hormones that stopped because they've had surgery. And they shouldn't really, unless they have very significant reasons for not to, it's important they do that, because as you know, these hormones are what they would have had anyway, but this was stopped temporarily, it was stopped surgically, it was stopped prematurely. So these people should have their hormones replaced, and it's got lots of health benefits. And there are some people that have what we call early menopause. So the age is what is important. So if you start to go through menopause before the age, after the age of 40, before the age of 45, we'd say that's early menopause. And anyone that goes through menopause before the age of 40 is premature menopause. Again, it's very important with premature menopause that the hormones are replaced because of the benefits of having the hormones replaced. We usually advise that you replace the hormones until the average age of menopause, which is around 50, 51 in the UK. And if that varies with people from our community, most Afro-Caribbeans, it's said that they go through menopause earlier, maybe before the age of 50. So why menopause? Why are we talking about menopause? Why do we need to know about healthy eating during menopause? So I'm going to give us some statistics. There's a recent largest survey in the UK of peri and postmenopausal women, and it was found that 44% of women says their ability to work was affected because they're going through menopause. 26% took time off work. 14% reduced their hours. 14% went part-time, and 10% left their jobs. So these statistics are quite important, and that would explain why this topic is something we need to talk about. It's not something that we should, ignore. So I'm going to bring this home to us. We're doing a recent survey, and this is just purely for Black African women over the age of 40. I know most of the surveys and the statistics that we have are for women or for Caucasian women, or even if they're Black women, they're usually Black Americans. We have very few with Black African women. So there's an ongoing survey, and we've had almost 200 completions so far. And that statistics shows that over 50% of women who are over the age of 40 think they're menopausal. It's interesting to know that out of that numbers, about 65% say they're not having regular period. You know, when we started, we talked about that we don't talk about menopause very well in our community. Quite a few people don't even know what menopause, whether they're going through menopause or not. And it's not unusual. Even people that have got medical background, it's so difficult sometimes because the symptoms of menopause can be symptoms of so many other things that you're wondering, is this the menopause or is this something else? So it's not unusual that women are not sure, they don't know. And if you don't know, how do you get the right help? So quite a few people are actually suffering in silence, which is really sad. Okay, so this survey, which is still ongoing, 65% said they're not having regular periods. Out of these people, 17% of them say they're not sure whether they're going through menopause, even though they've got severe symptoms. Out of the 17%, they've had 6 or more of the usual symptoms of menopause, like hot flushes and foggy brain, poor sleep, but they're still not sure. So you can imagine this number of people that don't know that they're going through menopause will probably not get the right help that they need. And over 50% of the Black African women that have already completed this survey are having severe symptoms. And these are women over the age of 40. So I just said to bring this home to us, because when we talk about statistics, we're talking about Caucasian. And sometimes we're thinking, oh, it doesn't happen to us. No, this is not us. But yes, sometimes these things happen to us as well. Right. So why do we need to talk about healthy eating in menopause? Why? Why is that important? What's the significance of doing this? Does it stop the menopause? Does it make it easier to go through menopause? Does it improve the symptoms? Or what is the importance of talking about this? Before we go on to do that, we're going to do another quick, I call it menopause. So I'm going to list some symptoms for us, and I would like us to put in the chat box. So just going to put true or false. If you think these are symptoms of menopause, I'm going to call them out, and then you put true or false in the chat box. So the first one I'm going to say is decreased sex drive. Is that true or false?
Okay, let me monitor the chat for you.
Decreased sex drive during menopause. Is it true or false? There are no trick questions. Just type in, just say whether true or false.
So, okay, we have a lot of answers. Okay, so true.
True. So we think
lots of trues, one false.
One false. Okay.
Yeah, lots of trues and then just one false. Yeah.
Okay. What of leaky bladder? That's when you really don't want to go to the loo. You find yourself wetting yourself. Can that be a symptom of menopause? True or false?
Okay, so we finished first one, second one.
We finished the second one, yeah. So leaky bladder, can that be a symptom of menopause? True or false?
First response is false.
Right.
False.
Okay.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
True, false. Well, not for me. Well, someone is sharing their experience. False. Well, not for me. That's
so it's a mixture. It's a mixture.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Feeling anxious or depressed?
True. Someone says true. Lots of the trues. True.
That seems to be winning. Any false at all?
Very true.
Very
from Amanda.
You see how important menopause is.
True. True.
So everybody's thinking this is true. Okay.
Yeah.
Palpitations.
Palpitation. Very true.
Very true.
True. Okay, so true is winning again. True.
Is winning again. True. Okay. Forgetfulness.
Let's see.
Putting your key somewhere and saying, "Where is my key?"
True. Very true. True.
Yeah.
I like the emphasis. Very true. True.
So that's winning as well.
It is true. Yeah.
Okay.
Lots
broken.
of true.
Good. What are broken bones? When you've had fractures, maybe you've broken bones. True.
False.
Okay,
so lot more false.
False than true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Weight gain.
Sorry, someone says not broken, but painful joints.
Joints.
Yeah. Another person says fragile bone.
Fragile bones. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for that. Weight gain. What do we think?
Weight gain. True. Very true.
Right.
True. True to weight gain. Yeah.
True. So weight gain is winning as well.
Any more word better than true?
from
Amanda.
That's probably winning.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So frequent urinary tract infections.
Okay. Urinary tract infection. Frequent one.
Yeah. We keep
true. False. Yeah. Maybe false.
Right. Okay. So that's a bit of a mixture as well.
Yes.
So difficulty with sleeping, not being able to sleep or waking up,
True. Someone added the true, like emphasis. Yeah. True. So a lot of true for that one.
So that's winning as well.
That's winning. Headaches. True, false. So it's a mixture. True, false. Yeah.
Extreme tiredness. Yeah, just feeling so tired that you really just can't get yourself.
True, very true.
Tired all the time, no energy to do anything. Okay.
False. True.
False.
Yeah.
Mixture. Okay.
A mixture. Okay. Yeah.
Bleeding after sexual intercourse.
Bleeding after sexual intercourse. Next one. Let's see. False. Red flag. I don't know what red flag means.
That's so true.
Okay.
That's probably a doctor there saying red flag.
False. Okay. False.
Okay, that's all false.
Yeah, more false.
Can be more false. Somebody said. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I think we did well. We did so well. So every single one on this list can be a symptom of menopause apart from the last one. which truly is a red flag. If you are bleeding after sexual intercourse, you need to see your GP ASAP and get some investigations done, because that doesn't really mean it's menopause. But any of this could be due to menopause. We're quite right. I know some are not as common. There's some that are more common than others, but that's why menopause is important. You can see how significant these symptoms can be. I know people that have actually felt suicidal, and just because they're going through menopause. So this is really important that we need to know about it. We need to talk about it. We need to help ourselves about this. So we're going to do another quick one. The reason for all of this is we're laying a background to the reason why we want to place emphasis on us doing something about menopause. So if a woman is going through menopause, what are the associated risks of going through menopause? I'm going to list some things, and we're going to say again whether they're true or false. So is dementia one of the risks when you go through menopause, true or false?
False, true, false.
Okay. Dementia is when you have loss of memory.
Oh, didn't get the question. Please, do you want to repeat it? Someone says didn't get the question.
So we said if a woman is going through menopause, in menopause, there are certain risks associated with women going through menopause. So there are certain things that you could have because you're going through menopause. So we're going to list some of these risk factors, and you're going to say whether it's true or false. So dementia is a risk factor for women going through menopause.
True,
so we had a combination
false,
of true or false.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and it's
what
still going on.
Cardiovascular diseases. So I'm talking about strokes and heart attacks. That's what I meant. Are you at an increased risk of strokes and heart attack because you're going through the menopause? True or false?
So, Doc, that's also a mixture of true and false. Yeah.
Diabetes, mellitus.
Someone says true. The chest pains are real. I think still to the cardiovascular disease. Yeah.
Okay. Osteoporosis, brittle bones.
True.
Migraines.
True.
Depression and anxiety.
True. A lot of truths.
And visceral obesity. So what I meant by that is, when you get all the fat around the tummy area, that's visceral obesity. True, false?
Someone says belly fat. Yeah, lots of truths.
Exactly, that's what it is, belly fat. Yeah. So, well, in this one, every single one of the item listed here are all true. So again, you could see that it's so important that we know about menopause and that we do something about it, because it's quite significant. There are a lot of risk factors associated with going through the menopause. And as I said, it's a natural event. All women will go through it, but there are things we can do. So this is just also talking about all the symptoms that we can have, and why do we want to talk about healthy eating? Why do we need to talk about healthy eating? That's the visceral fat. That's all that fat here, and that's so significant. And this is something we need to address, and we're going to address parts of this today. What can we do about this? How can we improve this? How can we stop this from happening? So during menopause, we said you can have an increased risk of visceral fat, belly fat, as some people say. So what are the things that could cause obesity during menopause? One is dietary, and that's why we're talking about healthy eating today. Also, low levels of physical activity. As you know, we said being very tired is one of the symptoms. So of course, as women get older, as we go through menopause, we tend to do a bit less. And low physical activity is actually a risk factor for developing obesity and visceral fat. And some people, it's because of a family history of obesity, and also sleep deprivation. We said earlier on that sleep problem is a symptom of menopause. So it's a kind of vicious cycle. You're not sleeping because you're going through the menopause, maybe because you're having hot flushes or night sweats. And if you don't sleep very well, you are likely to start to gain weight. So weight gain is not actually just due to the hormonal changes, it's because of aging. And also because during menopause, the level of estrogen starts to fall. And as the level of estrogen falls, we tend to accumulate fat around the belly area. And having fat around your belly area is a significant risk factor for illnesses like diabetes, heart attacks and stroke. Also, there's evidence to show that women who are overweight are likely to suffer from severe symptoms of menopause. So we're laying all this foundation to say there is every reason to actually look at diet intervention when it comes to managing menopause, because we know that dietary is one of the significant factors for increased weight, for obesity, and for visceral belly fat, like somebody put it, which is visceral obesity. So what are the dangers of the visceral obesity? Apart from the heart attack and strokes that we mentioned earlier on and the type 2 diabetes, also it could actually increase the risk of cancers, especially breast cancer. Most women will say to you or to say to me, I don't want to take HRT because I'm worried about cancer. But do you know that you have a higher risk of developing breast cancer by being overweight than by taking HRT? So again, it's important that we address the issue of being overweight, address or try to prevent visceral fat from forming. We know already that the fact that you are aging, the fact that you're going through the menopause, you're probably going to accumulate the fat anyway. So what do we do? How do we tackle this problem? And because there are a lot of dangers involved with having visceral fat, not just breast cancer, it can also increase the risk of colon cancer and cancers of the lining of the womb called endometrial cancers.
Doc, I've had a question that says, what is HRT?
Okay. HRT is hormone replacement therapy. So during menopause, women lose estrogen and progesterone, and we tend to replace this for some people. Not everyone can take HRT, but most people will be able to take HRT, and there are lots of benefits in taking HRT. I know we're not talking about hormone replacement therapy today, but it's important to mention that. And as I said in earlier slides, anyone that's gone through premature menopause should have hormone replacement therapy, unless if they have significant risk factors for not having HRT. One of those significant risk factors is if you have a genetic family history of breast cancer. Genetic, I mean, not just family history. And there are different types of HRT. Some, it's okay, they don't actually cause increased risk of breast cancer. Not all HRT cause increased risk of breast cancer. But I think we're going to, that's just in a nutshell. Right, so what can be done? It's important we tackle this visceral obesity, belly fat. It's a problem that most women go through, even if you're slim. So when I study these people that are very slim, if you have a normal BMI and your waist abdominal circumference is more than 80 centimeters, that is still a significant risk factor. So it's not just about being slim, it's about avoiding belly fat. So what can we do about this? I know we are talking about diet today, but there's no way I can talk about this without actually mentioning the importance of exercise. And I'm glad, I think we have a session after this, which is so fantastic. So it's not just about looking at your diet or looking at your nutrition. I don't want to use the word diet, nutrition. I'll talk about why I don't want to use the word diet later. So we need to also talk about exercise. So the International Menopause Society actually recommended for women going through the menopause should do 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. That could include going for walks. In addition to that, they need to do 2 additional weekly sessions of resistance exercise. I know I'm not covering exercise today, but like I said, I can't talk about this without mentioning that. And when I say resistance, maybe things like, pulling weight or using things apart from just doing your regular, taking long walks. So it's important. Doing all of this would actually help to tackle the visceral obesity and also reduce all the risk factors we mentioned earlier on. So what's the role of dietary modification? Where does this come into play? We laid the foundation. The reason why we need to attack this is because we want to reduce all the risks associated with going through menopause. And we know those risks can come when we start to develop too much weight around the belly area. We start to increase our blood pressure, start to increase our risk of diabetes, and also with increase the risk of strokes and heart attacks. So what's the role? What does this do? So really the first line for managing menopause is lifestyle modifications. Is the first line option. So it's not just taking medications, but we need to think about lifestyle. And what do I mean by lifestyle modification? So lifestyle modification start with addressing your food, We talked about healthy eating as part of lifestyle modification. Again, physical activity, very important. Healthy eating, physical activity. You know, I said to my patient that smoking is actually sitting rather is a new smoking. Do you know why I said so? Because most of us sit for too long. Okay, so there's something we call sitting disease. That if you're sedentary, is a risk factor for actually developing the visceral fat, diabetes. So it's important that we learn to move. We need to move constantly. Some of us do jobs that involve sitting down. So we need to find ways around this. If it means doing things like, you know, getting up intermittently, getting a standing desk, going for walks in between. It's not just about going to the gym and spending hours. It's about you coming back and sitting and watching TV for hours on end. All those things are things that could affect most of the things we're talking about today. So physical activity is important. We need to know that as well. And then stress management. Different ways to manage stress. We all need to find ways we manage stress. I have my own way of managing stress, you know, listening to music, going for prayer walks, doing quiet times. Those are the ways I do to manage my stress. So you need to find what can you do to manage stress. Very important, because stress as well can also affect your symptoms of menopause, can increase your weight, can cause depression, can cause anxiety. And lastly, smoking cessation. I cannot emphasize that enough. It's a risk factor for heart attack, for stroke, for cancers. So it's important. Women going through the menopause should address this. If you smoke, it's like you already have risk factors for going through the menopause because your estrogen is depleting. And then adding smoking to it is going to just compound the risk. So very important to address that. So now I'll talk about the benefits of healthy eating. What are the benefits? We already know, we talked about over and over again, weight management. Again, I will say it again and again and again, reduce our risk of heart attacks, strokes, and cancers. Do you know in our community, there are lots of, you know, incidences of heart attacks, of strokes, and that's due to, you know, diabetes, very, very common. Hypertension, very common in our community. All these hypertension, diabetes are all risk factors for heart attack and strokes. Again, you could actually reduce your risk of cancers by eating healthily. So it's important. And overall, aside from all of this, also general well-being. People that do exercise say to you that they feel better when they've gone for exercise. Because what happens is you're releasing certain chemicals in your brain, you know, and those chemicals, endorphins, we call them, they're like happy hormones. You don't even need antidepressants sometimes. Just being more physically active can help your mood and just increase your overall well-being. So that's the reason why we're focusing a whole 40 minutes or an hour today to talk about healthy eating. So what does this mean? People just tend to think, I'm confused. There are too many. People say lots of do's and don'ts. One time they will tell you this is good. They will say, no, it's not. Eat fat. No, don't. Eat high fat, high carbs, eat this, eat that. So what do we do? Most of us are confused. I'm sure everybody's like this woman here saying, where do I start from? What can I have? Especially when it comes to people from our community, you're thinking, okay, all this food you're telling me to have, that's not what I like to have. I like to have my carbs. I like to have the typical food that Afro-Caribbeans would have. So where do we start from? How do we address this? So I will say KIS. And what that means is keep it simple. It's important to keep it. Sometimes it gets so complicated. People get so obsessed with diet, with food. They become depressed. So there are 3 points I'm going to say to us. We need to remember, eat real food. And I'm going to talk about what I mean by real food. Eat real food. Again, it's about good nutrition, not diet and starvation. Most women, you're already going to stress of all the hot flushes and the foggy brain and the memory loss. And now you're stressing over the food, you're starving yourself, you're dieting, but the weight is not coming off. And it's a vicious cycle. You get depressed and you keep going and going. So like I said, keep it simple. Eat real food, focus on good nutrition, not necessarily dieting or starving yourself. And again, this is my favorite, moderation, moderation, moderation. I've said it 3 times and it's important. Anything in excess is bad. I remember one of my patients that's recently diagnosed with diabetes and it was very slim, very healthy. And I was like, what? He said, well, I've changed my diet. I've been taking lots of fruit juices. They said fruit is good for you. So obviously the fruit juices are what causes high blood sugar. So we said, okay, stop your fruit juice, repeat your blood test in 3 months' time. Hey, he's been cured of his diabetes, all because he stopped taking the fruit juice. So even if they say this food is good, some people say they said it's good, bananas are good for you, and then they start to feast on large amounts of bananas. It's full of sugars. So moderation, moderation, moderation. Even if a food group is good for you, then you still need to do it in moderation. So we need to remember that. Eat real food, good nutrition, don't starve yourself. Don't go around lots of diet that you can't sustain. You do it for 3 months, you lose the weight. After that, you gain the weight back because it's not sustainable. And then remember moderation, moderation, moderation. So what do I mean by the real food? So it's unrefined, unprocessed. Most of us maybe connected today, maybe probably live in the UK or somewhere in the developed world where all people want to do is just get it quick, fast food. Lots of processed food, lots of refined food. That is not good for women, for us, for anyone, especially for women going through the menopause, for all the reasons I've mentioned earlier on. Because all these things I'm going to talk about how this affects our glucose metabolism, affect our insulin, and how that helps affect our weight gain. So real food, not high in sugar. Real food has essential vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients that are rich in proteins and healthy fats. So you can see from all of this that the real food is everything, isn't it? So we talked about moderation. So you need to make sure your food is balanced. Right. General rules, which I'm going to just say to us. Avoid sugary food. But we need to beware. There are lots of hidden sugars in most foods. People will say to me, I don't take sugar. I said, really? But you've taken a big bowl of rice. I said, just imagine that rice you're eating. Because when it gets broken down, especially your white rice, whatever rice you have, any grains, get broken down into glucose. So that's sugar. So we need to be careful of eating sugar, especially when we're women going through menopause. Avoid unhealthy fats. They are good fats. So some people say, don't take fat. I don't like to say, no, there are some good fats that you need to take because they're good for you. They help to protect your heart. And again, we need to include range of different vegetables in our diet. We need to look at low sugary foods. Most of the tropical foods are very high in sugar. So we need to think about that when we are talking about eating fruits. So what about sugar? Sugar and health. Okay, so there's a lot of sugar we eat is in processed food and drinks. So that's why we need to watch out the cakes, all those foods that we like. Again, I'm not saying we can't have them or we should never have them, but if we feast on them, we're increasing our sugar content, we're affecting our metabolism, and it's going to lead to lots of the risks we talked about earlier on. So remember commercial smoothies. People say, oh, smoothies, it's just fruit juice, it's smoothies that you buy when you go out to the shops, to the malls. It's full of sugar. Breakfast cereals, fruit juice, cereals, yogurt, some yogurts. Then remember, sugar has so many other names. Some will say, I don't take sugar, I put honey in my tea, it's sugar. There's sucrose, there's glucose, there's fructose, that's fruit sugar. So there are lots of names for sugars. Remember that. There is hidden sugar in everything. So what's wrong with sugar? Why do we always talk about sugar? So some tropical fruit, like I mentioned earlier on, again, and then dried fruits. Lots of dried fruits are high in sugar. Be careful with that. Starchy carbs, that's our main meal as Afro-Caribbeans. As starchy carbs get broken down into sugars, so when you eat large quantities of those, it can cause lots of problems. So why? What's wrong with sugar? How does it affect our health? So when we take our carbs, like I mentioned before, whatever carbs we've taken, bread, rice, yam, potatoes, it gets broken down and glucose or sugar is released. If we have excess of this, then we got excess of the sugar. The excess sugar gets stored as fat, and the fat goes straight into our liver. So I don't know, some people would do some tests, ultrasound scan, they will say you got fatty liver. After some time, the fat in the liver will spill onto the pancreas if you don't do anything about it. When the fat spill onto the pancreas, that's bad news, because what that means is that the pancreas then begin to not able to function properly. Pancreas is the organ very close to the liver. That diagram is the diagram of the liver with the pancreas underneath the liver. So if the pancreas begin to have too much fat, then we develop what we call insulin resistance. Pancreas is where the insulin is produced. Insulin is the hormone that helps to metabolize our sugar, glucose. What insulin does is to put the sugar in the right places in our body for energy. If the pancreas is struggling because of the too much fat around the pancreas, then the insulin is not produced as it should, and then the sugar stays in our bloodstream in high quantity, and that's what leads to type 2 diabetes. So the converse is true. If we lose all the fats in the liver, in the pancreas, you can actually get rid of your diabetes. So you gain weight, you gain diabetes, you lose weight, you lose diabetes. And there's so many people that actually can go into remission because they've lost the weight. Again, you know, during menopause, there's high risk of diabetes. So women should be careful with the amount of sugar and carbs they take to prevent the risk of diabetes. So I mentioned earlier on that there's some fats that are good for us: the olive oil, the avocados, the nuts, the seeds, the oily fish. I know most Afro-Caribbeans may not really be familiar or like the idea of nuts, seeds, oily fish, but hey, they're good for you. They're good for us as we go through menopause, as we try to tackle this visceral obesity. Rather than taking all those sugary snacks, why not snack on nuts? Good for us. Good, snack on nuts or dark chocolates. So I read this recently, just today I read this. It's called the plant effect. So there's this research that's just been done on 10,000 perimenopausal women. And it's shown that women that have a higher level of plant in their diet actually can control their menopausal symptoms a lot better. 15% of them have less low libido. 15% of them have less depression and poor memory. 20% have less joint pain. 25% have less sleep disturbances, and 30% less hot flushes. So we need to include the high plant intake. Remember, I mentioned about moderation. I'm not saying just eat plant only, but I'm saying include the higher plant intake because it would help to improve the symptoms of menopause. So what I've done is I put in shopping basket. And what that means is that as women going through the menopause, when we go shopping, what do we put in our basket? What are the kind of things we can put in our basket? Okay, so this list is not exhaustive. I'm not saying this is all you can have, but this is just a guide to the kind of things we should think about when we're shopping. So we talked about plant, the plant effect, how that can help us. So we need to include lots of vegetables in our shopping basket: avocados, broccoli, spinach, mushrooms, garlic, peppers, onions, lettuce, cabbage, sweet potatoes. Green plantains, very good as well. Generally helps to reduce your blood sugar. Fruit, apples, oranges, berries. Berries are really good. They contain lots of phytonutrients, all the berries: strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, plums, and pears. These are good for women as we go through the menopause because it would help us control the weight and all the problems that we could have. Oil, herbs, and spices. So as you can see, I haven't actually put the curry and all those other Maggi that we usually use, but these other spices can be used. I started using them a couple of years ago, and actually I haven't missed the Maggi or the Knorr cubes since I started using these spices. So we talked about the oil, extra virgin olive oil. We can't talk about that enough. It's good for the heart. Ginger, turmeric, coriander, fresh and dried basil, fresh and dried rosemary, dried oregano. Again, shopping basket, meat and fish, lean meat. So again, some culture in the African community like their meat, but the meats they have is the ones, cow foot, cow legs, full of fat. When we are at this age, perimenopause, menopause, we need to avoid all those fat for all the reasons I mentioned earlier on. Organic chicken, oily fish is good. Mediterranean style kind of diet, good for the heart, reduces your weight, risk of diabetes, heart attack, and stroke. Salmon, mackerel, sardines, tuna. But with fish, we need to be careful as well, not too much. I mentioned moderation, moderation, moderation. So fish maybe 3 times a week. Again, don't go and then feast on all of this all the time and overdo it. It's still moderation, because when it's in excess, it's bad. Again, some fish have mercury content that is not good for us. So we need to do this in moderation. Nuts and seeds. So for those of us that like to snack in between food, rather than snacking on healthy, kind of snacks, you could get some nuts and seeds and snacks on those. Don't forget our dairy and eggs if you don't have any allergies to them. Soy milk is good for women, especially. Chia seeds, good for women. So in conclusion, what do I want to take away from today? Again, KIS, keep it simple. Moderation, moderation, moderation. Food is meant to be enjoyed. So enjoy your food. I don't want us to get over obsessed with, oh my God, I don't want to have belly fat. Quality nutrition, not diet and starvation. And again, may I say that for individuals with certain health conditions, like maybe celiac, inflammatory bowel diseases, you may need a tailored advice for your medical condition. So it's not, this is just a general advice for everyone, but individuals may need to see your GP, your nutritionist to get an advice that is tailored for you and for your condition. Thank you very much. I have there some useful website, very important for us to get information, nhs.net, womenshealthconcern.org. On my blog, as I said in my intro, I got some write-ups on menopause there, and my book, which is on how to make menopause a positive experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Massive thank you, Dr. Oluseye. If you could kindly stop sharing, then we can have a discussion. Yes, thank you so much. I see some people clapping. Yeah, there are already comments in the chat box to say that was so helpful. Thank you so much. I'm going to read the questions in the chat box. Because we don't have a lot of time. Usually we just ask people to unmute themselves. Okay, so I have one hand up. Just before I call you, please. Yes, there was a question on raw honey, and I think you've answered that already. Yes, so honey, sugar, all of that has to be taken in moderation. A lot of the times people in our community would say we will not have sugar, and then they would tend to have honey in excess. It's going to have the same effect. So I hope that question is answered. Are sugar sweeteners good? That's a question from Lynn.
So we usually discourage taking sweeteners, okay, because sweeteners have got certain things in them that research say that they may be carcinogenic. They may be. So if you're going to take sugar in moderation, it's fine. And when it comes to sugar, sometimes when you find yourself that you haven't taken it for a while, then you lose the taste. Your taste buds tend to adjust to it. But rather than use sweeteners, I'd rather say if you really can't do without sugar, in moderation, maybe brown sugar, well, little amount, but not sweeteners.
Are bananas good?
Yes, bananas are good. They have potassium. They help to reduce your blood pressure, but banana is full of sugar. So if you want to take banana, in moderation. If you take too much of banana, you will push up your blood sugar. So.
Thank you, Doc. And just to add to that, so usually we never say they are bad foods or good foods, you know, so everything can be eaten. It depends on how you eat it. Moderation, moderation, moderation is the key. So yeah, you can have your fruits, just don't binge eat banana. People sit down and can have 3 or 4 fingers of banana, you know, and they think they're eating healthy. People would have fruit juices in place of a proper, and I like what you put it, nutrition, you know, a good meal. That is what we discourage. Don't replace your meals with fruit juices. Here in the UK, the guidelines for the normal population is that even if you have a fruit juice, it should just be just a small cup a day, if you're going to have it, you know. So please, those of us who are always blending our juices, that is not a recommendation here in the UK. Please just have your fruits raw and have it in moderation. There's a question. Okay, Ngozi, please, can you unmute yourself, and then I continue with the questions in the chat box, just so we have a bit more interaction. Someone wanted to speak. Can you unmute yourself, please? No? Did I lose Ngozi?
Yeah, I think she had her hand up just now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, well, waiting for her. I'll just go ahead and read the next question. I hear that extra virgin oil should not be used in cooking at high temperatures, which is typical for African cooking.
Did we not mention that last week when we had the
thank
meeting?
you. So, Doc, you were there. We've had a full session on this. So, Modope, we had 1 hour session on cooking. So please do get in touch with CAHN. And if Daniel can just drop the email, and then we can share that YouTube video. So yes, we discourage, we discourage people from cooking at very high temperatures. And all the reasons behind this are provided in a 1 hour video, you know, session we did. So we want to share this video with you, but yes, we discourage that. people, whether virgin oil or whatever oil, we don't encourage people cooking at very high temperatures.
But may I just add that what she told us last week is that, yes, you can still cook with it, because people say that you can only drizzle with olive oil. It's good to drizzle with it. But if you're cooking with it, not high temperature, like there's a particular food in the African culture where they would actually cook the oil until it's really smoking.
Yeah.
We discourage that.
Exactly. That could be carcinogenic. And there's a lot of compliments, doctor, for you. I think we're going to have you more often. People say they have really enjoyed this session. So we are going to have her again sometime next month, depending on her availability. There's lots of positive comments in there. Is granite also good, since you mentioned nuts?
Yes. I mentioned nuts. I mentioned the almonds, the pistachios, granite is, I would say, like you said, we're not talking about good or bad, but I would favor those other nuts. And if you're going to take granules, the way we take granules in Africa, probably that person is a Nigerian. We pour it in our gari, we snack on it, and it takes a while to get used to the monkey nuts, the pistachio nuts, the almonds. The granule tastes sweeter. I totally agree with you, because I've tried both. But if you're going to take granules, again, moderation.
Exactly.
But I'll say I will favor you take other nuts than the granule.
Yeah. Could you say if eating yam is beneficial and how? Now, can I just come in here and say that we've been saying this on our Healthy Heart session, that there is nothing wrong with any of our foods. Our staples are fine. Our yam, our plantain, every food within our community is okay. It is how we eat these foods. It's the portion sizes. If you're eating yams, how many slices of yam are you having? That is our problem. But there is yam. It's a good source of starchy carbohydrates we can have. You can have plantain, you can have cocoa yam, you can have every food we have in Africa here. So again, there isn't any bad or, a good food. It's how much you have. I mean, we all know that we shouldn't be having too much fatty foods and all of that. But when it comes to our yams and plantains, that's absolutely fine.
How you have it, how you cook it. If you're frying it or you're roasting, so how you have it, how you cook it is important.
Yes, indeed. I think I've exhausted the questions in the chat box. We still have some time, so please feel free to unmute your hand if you want to ask a question or contribute to this discussion. Anybody has an experience to share about how they are managing their menopause? Anything you want to add? Yes, Ngozi, I see you.
Back.
Yes, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, and nice to see you, Dr. Shaya.
Yeah,
thank you.
My question, you answered a bit of it in terms of bananas. So I like my bananas. So I just wanted to ask, can I have one? Is one a day okay? Because I use it to start my day. Is it even good to start my day with? And is one a day okay?
Again, so with regards to banana, because it's a sugary fruit, if you have diabetes, I probably would say one a day is a bit too much. When you take sugary fruit or anything that's full of sugar, what happens is that you are going to be increasing your glucose level. It's not going to sustain your level of sugar for a long time. So if you take banana to start your day, it's full of glucose. It would keep you, when people have done lots of exercise, they say you're feeling faint, you drop your blood sugar, take a banana, you feel full easily after you've taken the banana. So it's okay to have it, but if you have certain medical conditions like diabetes, I probably would say one a day, probably a bit too much. Maybe a couple of times a week, but not one every other day. And then how ripe is the banana you're having? If it's very, very ripe, that means it's going to be very sweet, but it's got lots of sugar in it. Banana is a very good fruit because it's got potassium in it. And potassium is good for your heart in moderation. It's also good for your blood pressure. But again, I've known people that their blood cells show very high potassium. And when we've spoken to them, they said, oh, I love bananas. I take like several a day. So we've asked them to cut off because, again, high potassium, even though it's good for you, when you have a high potassium, it's also bad for your heart. So it comes down to moderation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doc. And just to add to what Doc said, so in the UK, our recommendation is to have 5 a day. And this is not for people who have diabetes. So this is just to the general public. That 5 comprises usually 2 fruits and 3 portions of vegetables. So if you don't have diabetes, this is just to the general public. The recommendation is that you have 2 portions of fruit. So that could be just 1 small orange and then 1 small finger of banana, or 2 other portions of fruit a day, and then 3 portions of vegetables. Okay, so, sometimes people also talk about, we encourage variety. So if you're having banana today, try and have something else the next day. A lot of us just stick to one fruit. If it's just orange, it's just going to be orange, 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 So that recommendation of 5 a day, a lot of people, there's research to show that most people don't even understand what that 5 a day means. And less than 0.1% of the population in the UK are actually doing this 5 a day. But if you don't have any conditions, and I like the fact that Doc mentioned that a lot of these, if you have living conditions like diabetes, it has to be tailored. So you have a individualized approach by your GP or your nutritionist. But to the general public, please remember 2 portions a day, not more than that, and then 3 portions of vegetables, and vary your fruits. Okay. Any suggestions? Oh, a few more questions. I'll quickly go through. Any suggestions about supplements to take to help with menopause, Doc?
Okay, so may I also say this about regards to supplement. So supplements are good for you because women going through the menopause, we talked about the bones when we started. I know we didn't dwell too much into menopause itself. Talk about the brittle bones and everything like that. So women of our color, most of us have got low vitamin D, majority of us. A higher percentage of it because of the skin, because of the way our skin has. So we know calcium, vitamin D, good for bones. So if your vitamin D is low, you need to take vitamins to replace that. Most of the vitamins and nutrients we need are in our food. If you eat real food, you will get your nutrients in your food. So I don't really say don't take supplements, but if you eat a well-balanced diet, you would definitely get everything you need in your food. And that's why I talked about don't favor one. Some people would say, oh, I mentioned about importance of eating plant. But if you eat plant only, you're missing out on a lot of other nutrients. And so there's some people that follow vegan or vegetarian diet. Remember, you need to take supplement because you're missing out on certain things. So supplements are good. There are lots of supplements out there for going through the menopause. We have menopause, we have all sorts, which is fine. But if we focus on eating real food, healthy diet, not just favoring one food group over another, you're probably going to cover everything you have. But of course, vitamin D supplement is very important, especially for us of black skin, because most of us would have vitamin D deficiency.
Thank you, Doc. Someone has just reminded me that he or she earlier asked a question about wild yam, and I can't seem to find that question. Could you explain what wild yam is for menopause, please? Last question. We don't have a lot of time, so I
think what that person was trying to say, because yams got phytoestrogens. But yes, it's got phytoestrogens, but the quantity you have in it, you can't compare that to taking, if you need to take hormone replacement therapy. I know we're not talking about that today, but from the survey that I said we're doing for Black African women, most people in our community do not know about HRT, don't know what it means, do not want to hear about it, do not want to use it, but we're just suffering in silence, actually. Because we can. There are people amongst us that have taken their wombs out and their ovaries, and they need to have HRT. They can have estrogen only, it doesn't cause any problems. So wild yams have got phytoestrogen. So people think if I take that in place of HRT, I'll be fine. But the quantity of the estrogen you have in that may not be enough to help your symptoms. So if there's anyone here that needs to have hormone replacement therapy, speak to your GP. If you don't have any risk factors, please do go for it.
Doc, I think we needed more time. So I think we're going to ask you to come back next month. We want to have more of these women topics, women-related topics, and nutrition and lifestyle. And yes, we don't always just talk about diet and nutrition. It's a nutrition and lifestyle session. So I was really pleased that you emphasize on all those things to do with the sitting disease and, the stress and the smoking. That's what these Tuesday sessions are for. It is not just diet, it is nutrition and lifestyle. So thank you so much. Lauren says, brilliant presentation, doctor. Thank you very much. Do you have any final words, 30 seconds before I hand it over to the next person?
So final words to say to all my ladies that are going through the menopause, you are not alone. We are in this together. Please do not keep silence. You don't need to suffer in silence. There is help available. Speak to someone. Just speak to someone. Okay? And we can go through menopause with grace and master menopause like a pro. Thank you for having me, everyone.
Thank you so much. Last words from me. You did mention that the first line of management is nutrition and lifestyle. This has been echoed over and over by our GPs, but for whatever reason, we still don't take nutrition and lifestyle that serious. So I'm always pleased when we have other professionals like yourself, GPs, also emphasizing on this very important topic. So please, as she said, eat real foods, good nutrition, and moderation. Please don't go and pay money to quack professionals online to give you quick fixes for your menopause. You just have to do this yourself and then speak to your doctors and they would support you. Thank you so much. We had a lot of people. Clearly, this is a topic of interest to so many people. So thank you, Doc. Thank you so much for doing this for us today. And like I said, we will invite you again sometime next month for a second part of this women's topic. Now, our next session is our exercise session by Orlando. As Doc said, nutrition is not enough. So please do stay on and join in. It's 30 minutes. Get a bit active as we need these two together to proper manage, not just menopause, but any other health condition we are living with or to prevent diseases. Thank you all so much for joining.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the exercise portion of tonight's session. I hope everybody enjoyed that amazing talk. Thank you, Dr. Hiba, for facilitating that. But I hope everyone's ready to get sweaty now. So as last week, as promised, we've got another box exercise session coming your way. So I hope everyone stays on the call, learn some new combos. Let's get fit, let's get sweaty, and let's end the evening on a high. All right, so let me get my tunes ready. We're going to start with a warm-up, people. Just turn these tunes up. So we're going to start off with a 30-second shadow skip. If you do have skipping ropes, you can bring those in if you have the space in your living room. If not, we're going to shadow skip for 30 seconds, people. Right, get to your spaces, people. Let's get started. Shadow skip in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Shadow skip it. That's it, people. Keep it nice and light to start off with. We're just trying to get the muscles nice and warm. Increase the heart rate. Get the blood flowing. Three, 2, 1. Okay, first now we're going to jab, squat, cross, squat. Let's go. That's it, people. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. Back to your shadow skip. Let's go. That's it, people. Should be feeling warmer now. You might have broken a sweat. Keep that going. 3, 2, 1. That's time, people. Quick 15-second water break. Afro beats. Okay. So back to the middle, people. Let's continue our warm-up. So first coming up, you've got in your guard, pushing from that back foot, 2 steps forward, duck, weave, pushing from that front foot, bang, 2 steps back, and then continue. All right, let's go 30 seconds, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Simona.
Tornado, tornado, Lord of mercy. Look, tornado, tornado, hey, hey, hey.
Keep that going, people. 10 seconds.
Hey, hey, hey.
3, 2, 1. Let's go. Go. Right to the face. Now let's go to the body.
You know me, I got party hard. We want party
Twist,
hard.
uncoil.
See, I party hard, hard. Me, I got party hard. You know me, I got party hard. We want the party hard. Let's see me now party hard.
2,
On the way to the race.
1. Last one. Shadow skip. Last one.
I'm in the back of the line with juice and I'm back in blatant. I'm lean, just a bit tipsy, but I ain't complaining. Outside the club, the line looks thick and the girls are gazing. Oh, this line is a long thing, hope we don't take all night. Can't wait till I get inside. Wanna rave till the morning light. We getting down.
That going, people.
I see ravers getting down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's time, people. Quick 15-second water break. And then we're going to get into round number 1.
See a girl I like, and I gotta move in swiftly. If a man don't see her and wanna meet her, so I gotta move in quickly. I grab the waistline, yeah, she with me. Right to the left, left to the right, the backward down. She wanna be down, we can back up. Hey, can I have your number? Can I have my number? She said, okay, this race is mayhem. Hey.
All right, people. Finish off your sips of water and join me back in the middle. Let's go. All right, so round number 1, we've got a combo round. All right, so working on these boxing combinations, putting different punches together in a sequence. All right, so first round, nice and easy. We're looking for power, strength. All right, here we go. We're here. Jab, jab, cross. All right, full body movement. So what you get, really snap it out there, lean forward. Jab, jab, cross. Turn that back foot towards the punch. All right, keep this angle. Jab, jab, cross. Nice and strong there. All right, that's your first 60 seconds. All right, make sure those 3 punches are really strong and powerful. All right, back to your space. Get ready for the round. Get ready for the round. Starting off, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Show me those 3 punches. Nice and strong. Really throw, use that full body. Remember, power's coming from the floor up. Keep that going. Halfway, keep it going. Last 15 seconds, keep throwing it. Jab, jab, cross, and power, come on. Last 10. 3, 2, 1. Time. Okay, let's do minute number 2. Start with this here again. Jab, jab, cross. And then we're going to go uppercut, uppercut. All right, watch again from this angle. Jab, jab, cross, uppercut, bang, uppercut, right to the face. Let's go, people. Second minute. 3, 2, 1. Put it together now. Let's go.
Get up, stop to the TikTok, 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 get up,
That's it. Put it together, people. Let's go. That's it. Halfway. Keep it going. me. Who we got there? Let's go, Amanda. Let's go, let's go. F. Walker, Cecilia, Hannah, Maxine, Mom. Let's go, people. Keep working it, keep working it. 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, last minute coming up, listen in. Last minute. So again, in the stats, let's put it all together now. Jab, jab, cross, uppercut, 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 cross. Watch again from this angle. Jab, jab, cross. 1, 2, 3, bam. Cross the finish. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Last minute. Put it together now. Come on. Knockout. Halfway. Last 20 seconds, people. Keep working for me now. Come on. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. We're gonna rest coming up. 3, 2, 1. Time, people. Back to your corners. Got 30-second water break. Well done. Round 1 down. Seconds, my people, and we're back in the ring. Okay, back through the ropes, back in the ring, my people. All right, round number 2. We have a pyramid speed round. All right, pyramid speed round. So listen in for rounds 1, or should I say minute 1 and 3. All right, so here we go here. In our guard, we're going to go all speed. So we'll start off with 2, 1, 2, nice and quick. Then we're going to go 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and quick. I'm going to go 6, 8, 10, 12, all the way to 20. Okay, once you get to 20, work your way back down. So 18, 16, 14, 12, and so on. All right, so that's minute 1 and 3. All right, after we do the first minute, I'll explain to you the second minute. All right, so straight 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, up to 20, and back down for your first minute. All right, people, let's get ready now. I'm looking for speed now, nice and quick, nice, sharp, snappy punches. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. Get that going, people. 20 seconds left. Come on. Last 10. Three, two, one. Time. Okay. That's advancing now. So, same format. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Once you get to 10, I need 10 push-ups. So go here, or knees down. All right, I need 10 push-ups. 10 there, nice and deep. From there, you go 12 to 20, back to 10. Once you hit 10, 10 push-ups again. Let's go, second minute. 3, 2, 1. Let's work, people. Start with 2. Once you hit 10, 10 push-ups. From there, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Keep working, people. Last 15 seconds. Keep going through the cycle, people. Last 10. 3, 2, 1. Okay, for your last 20, remember, we're going back from 2 all the way to 20. So start 2, 4, all the way to 20. Let's go, people. Last minute. 3, 2, 1. Spread it out now. Let's go. Start with 2. Keep it going, people. 20 seconds done. That's halfway, my people. Keep that going. Keep that going. Seconds. Last 10. 3, 2, 1. Time. 30-second water break. Get those legs ready. We've got a leg round coming up next. "15 seconds, my people." Okay, listen to my people. Round number 3 coming at you. All right, so the combo will stay the same, and it's what we did in the first round. Okay, so for strength, jab, jab, cross. So when you guard, step forward, turn that back foot towards a punch. You're gonna do that combo 10 times. Okay, do that combo 10 times. From there, we have 10 squats here. So we're not going full range, we're only going quarter range. So right there, this would be half range, that would be deep. So we're just going here, bang, explode, nice and strong. Explode, 10 there, and then we've got 10 alternate lunges. So go here, nice and deep. Nice and deep. All right, so you've got the shallow squats here, just there, explode, and then we've got deep lunges there. Once you've done 10 and 10, you go straight back into your combo for 10. All right, let's get busy, people. Round number 3. Let's work on those legs now. Back to your spaces. Get ready. Get ready, people. On your toes. Let's go at the drop. Let's go at the drop. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Work it, people. Keep it going, people. Once you get to 10, leg work time. Once you get to 10, lunges. Keep it going, come on. Let's go. 1 minute 15 gone. Once you finish your leg work, straight back to your combo. Keep it going, people. Halfway, keep working it. Keep working, people. Doing well so far. Keep going. Come on. 1 bar, Victoria. Keep going. Come on. Veronica, J.E. Keep working. Whoever is iPhone, keep it going. Come on. Last 60 seconds. Come on. Keep working, people. Seconds left. Keep going, people. Last 20. Last 10. Time. Back to your corners. 30-second water break. Ten seconds, people. Okay, last round coming up, guys. We've got a cardio round. All right? Let's get all that sweat dripping now. Last round. So we're going to start off. It's going to be in 10 and 20-second segments, all right? The 10-second segments will be punches, and the 20-second segments will be an exercise cardio move. All right, so let me give you the first 30 seconds. So we're going to start off in our guard. No, actually, no, we're going to start off straight up, straight up here. We've got straight up, straight. Okay, 10 seconds. From there, we've got a jog on the spot. Jog on the spot. Okay, so listen in. Stand up straight, straight on, bang, straight. Okay, from there, we've got a jog on the spot. 20 seconds. That's your first round, first move. Okay, people, let's get ready. Let's get ready. Start off with the straights. 3. Oh, let's go, straight. Keep going, keep going, keep going. 3, 2, 1. Jog on the spot now. 20 seconds. On the spot. Keep that going, keep that going, keep that going, keep that going. 3, 2, 1. Everybody, uppercut. 10 seconds. Let's go. Uppercuts. 3, 2, 1. Star jump. Let's go. Remember, go at your own pace. Take a quick break. Quick rest. Do so and then jump back in. Let's go. Star jump. Come on. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Last one. Hooks. 3, 2, 1. Now skip. 20 seconds, people. Come on. 10 seconds. Halfway now. 3, 2, 1. Back to the start. Straight up, straight. Go. Now going. 3, 2, 1. Let's jog on the spot now. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Uppercuts. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Star jumps. Keep going. 10 seconds. 3, 2. Last one. Hooks. Keep that going. 3, 2, 1. Skip. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And that's time, people. Well done. Well done. Tough session tonight. Okay. Quick 20-second water break, and then we'll cool down and stretch off. Well done. That's what we talked about today. Get ready, back to your space, and let's go next side to side. Let's go. Heart rate down. Oxygen. Ear to shoulder. Get the arm across the chest, or just beside the elbow. Same arm behind the head. Change arms. Behind the head. Okay, take it to the hips, legs apart, nice big circles. Change direction. Front to back. Stay where you are. Arms by your side. Slide those hands down towards the knee. Alternate. Legs a little further apart. Try and get your palm to the floor. Keep those legs as straight as you can. Down to your left leg. Down to your right. Back to the middle. Slide up to the top. Legs together. Shake it all off. And that's time, people. Well done. Well done, people. Give yourself a pat on the back for that one. That was a tough one. Back over to my colleagues, back in the studio. Is anyone on? Oh. I'm not sure who's on. Is it Daniel?
Hello.
Hey. Hey.
Hi. Are you? So thank you so much. So I just need to mute my. So hold on. Yeah, thank you very much for joining today. Thank you, Dr. Hiba, and thank you so much, Dr. Ashaya Arikawe, for your insightful presentation today. So join us again next week for another session of Healthy Hearts, and look out for our different events this week, Health Hour on Saturday. And then next week again, we're back for Healthy Hearts. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining. And we hope to see you again next week, same time. Thank you. Bye-bye.